Everyone wants to take their business, their skills, to the next level. Small and mid-sized business owners have exceptional insight into how to do this. They endure and thrive because they find ways to overcome the challenges that come their way, and they can teach us valuable lessons to apply to our own companies and lives. Stephen Nooner, founder and owner of Alkali, a company with a unique process that helps businesses more effectively buy and manage their insurance programs. And Bob Gibbons, builder of Riata Commercial Realty, a real estate advisor and tenant advocate, are two prominent Metroplex businessmen who, along with their weekly guests, will ask their and your probing questions, finding impactful solutions that will help you reach for the next level. Here are your hosts, Stephen Nooner and Bob Gibbons.
Welcome to The Next Level, Conversations that Propel Business. This is Bob Gibbons.
And I'm Stephen Nooner. That was a big, deep breath there, Bob.
Well, I got to keep you guessing.
Keep me on my toes.
Do the same thing every week. It'd be boring.
It might be. My new friend, Mike Roberts, is here with us. Mike is the founder and CEO of Service IT Direct and chairman of the board of Bizbang. They have been in business since 1989 and have 18 offices around the country. If you want to learn more about Mike or his companies, please visit serviceitdirect.com or bizbang.biz. Be careful when you type that one in.
Bizbang.biz. Wow. Welcome. Glad you're here with us.
Welcome.
Glad to be here. Thank you.
So we always start our shows with a quote from someone, and we call it wisdom from others. And this week we have politics is big right now, unfortunately, and thank God it's about over. But we're going to go with a president who we all can agree was a good one.
Can we?
Abraham Lincoln. Yeah. You want to argue that? We'll do that off the air. So Abraham Lincoln said, "Better to remain silent and be thought a fool than to speak out and remove all doubt." And that was a quote that you gave us, Mike. Tell us why you like that one.
You know, I think we've all fallen prey to that more than once, right? That's a lot of wisdom packed into that statement.
And will again.
That's right.
I don't think I can see that one enough. I should tie it to my hand or something.
Well, yeah, especially my problem is I'm always a little bit sarcastic, so I'm real quick to have some, remark in return, just playful, but sometimes the person on the other end doesn't always see it as playful.
Right.
So
I'm still in counseling, Bob.
You are?
Yes.
Good. You deserve it. You need it.
So, Mike, let's start off because a lot of our audience aren't tech people, and Bob and I, for sure, as you know, at least with me, are not tech people. Yes. Enjoy your Samsung exploding phone over there, Bob.
Right. There will be a test later.
It's not the 7.
Break down for us the difference between managed services and what Bizbang provides is desktop managed services.
Managed services in the IT space can mean a lot of different things, So basically, it's outsourcing certain features within the IT scope would be deemed managed services.
Okay.
Bizbang was created to do the desktop managed services. So anything that's associated with your end users, your employees' desktops, we cover.
So in Bizbang, you're saying that everything that's on my computer, everything related to my computer is covered under Bizbang, whereas under the other platform, it's more of a menu, and I pick and choose what I want?
Yes, or with what company that you would go with. With Bizbang, we decided to take the end user computing completely off of a company's, plate, if you will. So our service, we provide obviously the servers, the laptops, desktops, or tablets. We refresh them every 4 years. We add in help desk services, 24/7, world-class, U.S.-based. We provide all the backups on the units. Every time that your user's connected to the internet, we're backing it up and storing that off-site. We also offer IT asset management under that umbrella, so you will know who has what and where, right? And also we maintain the corporate images for particular companies, which is your suite of software products, and we keep them updated. And it's put all that under one roof, and of course the break-fix piece of it as well. So, for instance, if you have a laptop that goes down, we offer same-day replacement.
Same day.
Same day.
Wow.
So it's pretty cool. And especially on the executive sides, we all travel, and you can imagine, going through TSA and trying to keep an eye on your wallet, and you realize you forgot a cufflink or your belt and you're trying to get that off. A lot of times you may drop your laptop. And if you had a huge sales call the next day saying Manhattan, One phone call to Bizbang, we could have your laptop restored, replaced, and shipped, and you'd have it by 10 o'clock the next morning ready to go.
Anywhere in the country.
Anywhere in the country.
Totally configured.
Totally configured. Even with your last photographs will be on it.
How can you do that?
Through software and through technology. So,
So I don't need to know. That's the wizard behind the curtain.
right, right.
Well, I mean, that honestly, that sounds a little too good to be true.
We're really excited about it. I mean, the products, we have not invented anything. They exist. I mean, you can go out and order help desk services. You can order an uplifted warranty through the OEMs, which I'd caution you on.
OEM.
OEM being Dell or HP or IBM, the
the
original equipment
manufacturers.
manufacturer,
Okay.
right? You know, you can order a 3-year uplifted warranty for your laptop, for instance. But if you have to read the fine print, you may be paying $300 or $400 for that uplift. But if it ever fails, you have to box it up and ship it somewhere. They don't fix it; they subcontract it. But you know, buried in the T's and C's, they have it where they will determine whether or not they can fix it, or they'll just issue your credit back. You know, so I don't know if you have ever tried to follow a credit from a company like Dell, but it's virtually impossible. Not to mention you're without a laptop for 3 weeks while somebody's deciding whether or not they're going to fix it.
Interesting.
So it just doesn't work.
And so what I like too, one of my understanding is, let's say it's just something that needs repair, I get a new one right away.
Right. Yeah, we fix it on our time, not yours. And so if you have an employee that's down for whatever reason, and we'll just swap the unit out, bring it back, we fix it, and put it back into an inventory that we maintain for you.
So you have to have, on a real-time basis, you have to be sort of having a mirror image of every computer in the company. So we take Mr. Nooner's company, for example, 20 people or so in the company. Each of those people has a laptop. You're mirroring or taking an image of what's on that computer at any given time.
Right.
And if one of those goes down,
Then
you can
basically, with a few clicks, we can restore the entire.
restore the whole thing on a new one, hand it over to his employee, and they're off and running. So that sounds great, but my skeptical self says that's got to be expensive.
Well, it makes so much financial sense, and this is probably the best way I can peel this back for you to understand. It doesn't matter if you have 25 people in your company or you have 25,000. The numbers are all the same. But using the example of, say, 50 employees, all right? When you have 50, you probably already have at least 1 or 2 IT guys on staff, and you're preparing to have to add another help desk person, a low-level one guy. He doesn't, the average salary on these guys are, let's say, $42,000. But by the time you add in insurance and benefits and cost of management and the overhead on that guy, it's about $5,000 a month. So what do you get? For $5,000 a month, you get one guy that's available approximately 7 hours out of the day, unless he's working with somebody else, or he's sick, or he's on vacation, or in training. That's what you get, and that's it. With Bizbang, for about the same price, $5,000 a month, your employees, all 50 of them, get brand new computers, and they're refreshed every 4 years. On top of that, you get, of course, the backups are being done. The data is stored off-site. They're not stored in somebody's trunk, right? And the backup software is very key for us to be able to restore everything. But also, you're getting, on top of that, you're getting a guy that will come out and install these. You'll never have to install another computer or deinstall one and dispose of one. That's all included in it as well. Plus, we manage the inventory real time, so we know exactly who has what and where. You're able to onboard a new employee. Say you hire somebody, simply opening a ticket, and we'll have that laptop built and delivered the same day for a new employee. So if you look at all the ends of what you get with Bizbang versus just that one guy, we give you that guy, but that guy's available 365 days a year, 24/7. And we have depth, so you're not waiting on hold or waiting for this guy to call you back. So it's just a better product through economies of scale.
When you have a new client that signs on, everybody gets a new computer right then?
No,
Okay.
it depends. Usually we'll start out, with the first month or two, fact finding. We get everybody loaded into the system, all their users. We take a look at what equipment that they have, and then we're able to come back and say, okay, you've got some of these are 5, 6, 7 years old. And so we'll then determine the refresh cycle. So, our suggestion would be to replace these, first year, second year, third year, fourth year. But of course, the owner will have the opportunity to modify that. And it's different in all cases. For instance, you may want your upper level management and your sales force to be on the latest and greatest laptops, refreshed every 2 years. But the people like your AR clerks or accounts payable folks or back office folks are fine with a desktop, restored replaced, refreshed every 5 years. So it's all changing, but we manage it all.
Gotcha.
So, before we met, and talked about this, I've never heard anything like this. So, who would be your competition?
Individual companies. Like you'd have to go out and get a help desk contract, which you can. You can order an uplifted warranty through the OEM, which you can. You can order or buy IT asset management software, but then you have to have somebody that's accountable to it. You can hire people to come out to install computers.
So what you're saying is this is a really long way of saying there is no competition.
You're right. Right now, there's not. There's not at all. Nobody has it all under one roof, and not like us, and nobody can deliver things same day.
So what would be your biggest challenge then? For your business?
It's just educating that that you're paying this money when you start to look at lost productivity. Larger accounts that we've talked to, they have like a 6-week time from when a new employee starts. You usually get obviously a 2-week heads up in most cases, when you extend an offer. But usually when at this particular company, it takes them 6 weeks to get that new employee, a desktop, which is crazy. But you look at, in a company that's got 60,000 employees that sign off the approval, the divisions it has to go through. It's extremely cumbersome. But look at the cost. If that guy costs you $120,000 a year, then you just spent $15,000 while he's sitting on his hands for the first 6 weeks.
Oh, I've seen that happen. It's just unbelievable to me that you do all that. You go to all that trouble to hire somebody. You know you're going to hire them, but you don't even kick off the IT until after their butt's in the seat.
That's right.
Makes no sense.
I wonder, is there a study on how often that happens? Because I heard that story and seen it and participated in it once or twice myself.
It happens all the time. It just does. You're also having to wait for. You may place the order, but you're waiting for the OEM to deliver it. So
this seems like such a good idea. There's been SaaS, software as a service, for so long. Why is it taking so long for people to bundle the whole thing, software, hardware, everything into one service?
I don't know. When we started, 27 years ago, we just didn't have a choice. There's nothing out there. So I think most companies have chosen, or have by no choice, have elected to build this in-house. And so it's extremely inefficient when you look at it. The help desk folks, they're the lowest rung, entry point into the market on the IT side, and these guys will leave you for $2 an hour. So as soon as they get a little bit of experience, they will move on. And just in DFW, our research says that there's about 1,200 openings right now for help desk personnel. So it's difficult to be able to maintain a staff in any consistency, without having to then replace them.
People around the country, you can support them. So they have a national. What if they have an international footprint?
We can do that as well. We're just not there yet. With Bizbang, it should be fairly easy, to be able to open up that distribution network.
So real quick, can you tell us how you got into this business?
Bizbang's owned by Service IT Direct, and I started it a year out of college. And back then, we were predominantly selling servers, reselling. So we had an engineering group, but they were configuring and building servers for our clients. As most entrepreneurs know, the resale type business, it's nerve wracking, and I think it was in 2000 we hit a downturn in the economy, and then 9/11 happened shortly thereafter. And so our clients weren't spending any money. Everybody went into a holding pattern when it came to buying new technology. And it was killing us. And I couldn't even count how many people went out of business, resellers just in Dallas, much less the country. It hurt everybody. So what happened was we had our engineers, they're basically idle. We weren't selling anything, so we decided to go back after the support for these accounts that after they purchase new equipment that has a 3-year warranty, they usually uplift that to 24/7, 4-hour response. And but the OEMs charged a very pretty penny for that. So we were able to come in there and offer higher deliverables for that contract at about half the price.
Great.
Well, we're going to go to a break. The only ship that doesn't sail is a partnership. We're going to learn a little bit from Mike about partnerships when we get back. Stick around.
And now, Confessions of a Recovering Landlord.
This is Bob Gibbons with Riata Commercial Realty, and I am your recovering landlord. After 20 years as a landlord, I now use that experience only for the benefit of companies that lease or buy office buildings and warehouses. Today's confession: knowledge is power. We all negotiate from a position of power and strength, or at least we want to. In any negotiation, the party with the most knowledge probably has the upper hand. And landlords count on this being the case whenever you're negotiating a lease, because most landlords are professional real estate investors and they hire professional leasing agents and property managers. Landlords are in the market every day negotiating leases, while tenants probably only negotiate one, maybe two leases every few years. So tenants feel outgunned. Don't let landlords have all the power. As a former landlord for 20 years, I understand how landlords think and what motivates them. So let me put that knowledge and experience to work on your side of the negotiation. To learn more, contact me at texastenantrep.com. Again, that's texastenantrep.com.
Have you started making plans to take your business to the next level in 2016? Hi, I'm Stephen Nooner, founder and CEO of Alkali. We have a trademark process called the Empowered Advantage that enables CEOs, business owners, and entrepreneurs to more effectively buy and manage their insurance. Before sitting down to make your plans for the new year, here are just a few things to consider. Would you say that you have an actual insurance strategy, one that you can articulate, or have you just purchased a policy here and there over the years? If you have an insurance strategy, was it discussed under the pressure of a renewal deadline or considered earlier in the year to avoid fire drill decision making? If your answer was no to either of these questions, then you may not have the right partner on your team. Visit alkaliservices.com to contact us and take the next step to a bigger and better future.
This is Steve Kinder, CEO of Loftwall. We make room dividers and privacy screens for offices, workspaces, and even radio booths that might be in need of one for Steve and Bob.
Welcome back to the Next Level, Conversations That Propel Business. We're here with our guest, Mike Roberts. He is the founder and CEO of Service IT Direct and Bizbang. And you can find out more about them at serviceitdirect.com and bizbang.biz.
So, Mike, in 30 seconds or less, can you tell me all the states in the United States?
All right.
I can tell you the amount of offices we've got. Go ahead.
No, but seriously, the hook before we went to the break, we talked about, I think you have an interesting and insightful conversation to be had and shared regarding partnerships.
Okay.
And I'd love to hear you to share with Bob, who doesn't know the story, about your partnership journey when you started the business initially.
You know, very few people know that I actually had a partner when I started this 27 years ago. But it was in 1989 we decided to leave my first employer, which was EMC, and I did it with a partner. I wouldn't recommend it, but keep in mind I was 23 years old, and it was a lot easier jumping ship with holding somebody's hand. But looking back, he didn't bring any capital or really anything different to the table, so it was a mistake kind of jumping into that direction. But needless to say, we had high hopes, and dreams, and we both resigned the same day. And about 3 days later, we went on our first sales call, and we got blown out of the water. We had a client that just started drilling us, like, okay, who's your company, and how many people do you have working for you, and how many customers do you have? And it just literally, we were shell shocked. By the time we walked out of there, and Tim resigned later that afternoon and went and got his job back at EMC. And so, again, keep in mind, I was 23 years old, so the language I think that I put in my resignation letter prevented that from being an option for me. So I did. It was gone.
So he knew how to resign a little better than you did.
Thank God I've never had to do it again. But I definitely lesson learned. But I can tell you, that day, I don't think I've ever felt more lonely or scared in my life, and I was in my apartment, my head was in my hands and just crying and saying, God, Lord, what have I done? What have I done? But the next day I didn't have a choice. Just had to pick myself up and dust myself off and go after it. And looking back, it was the best thing that ever happened to me. There's no way I would be where we are today, having a 50-50 partner. There's just too many decisions along the way that had to be made that we weren't going to see eye to eye on. So,
So whenever you did that, and he's gone now, and you're the only guy, it was now a one-man company. You didn't have any other employees or anything. So how did you make that sale? If the first guy you pitched was worried about two guys in the company, now you're only one.
You just increase your chances.
Just went back at it. I think back then I had two cards too. One that said sales rep, one that said president. So I just didn't want them to know that they were talking to the owner. So just always threw a perception that we were bigger than we were, and it worked.
Yeah, I never put a title on a card. That way I can be whoever I need to be at the time,
Right.
which is usually janitor.
I mean, I remember those days with us. I mean, in the very beginning, it was just the way we had to go is like, just I'm your pure consultant, and then I mean, one by one by one.
Right.
But I remember we were working with a publicly traded company early on, and they were like, "Well, where's your office?" And we had rented. I mean, there was a couple of us at that point, but I had an executive office suite, so it looked like I had a much bigger office, but it wasn't on the tollway. It wasn't. I mean, and it was. They had a hard time wrapping their mind around the value we could provide because they were so hung up in how big we were.
Right.
Do you think that is different now? I mean, that's been 10 years for you. It's been 27 years for you or whatever. So do you think that there's that same stigma that people that work from home still are perceived as being
Yes and no.
I think it's changed a lot. I mean, I know that, we have a lot of employees at home office across the country. And at one point, 20 years ago, we kind of, would hide that. We definitely wouldn't broadcast it. But now, when you look at companies like, Hewlett-Packard, for instance, are doing that. They've killed most of the real estate in the United States. It's become accepted.
So your business must be a lot easier now with technology because so many people are working from home. They have that option.
Right.
But from the practical standpoint of your business, does that make a big difference in the way you manage your clients?
No, not really. I think the biggest change for us has been the mindsets of the customers. They've just come a long way. The hardest part we had, 20 years ago, I guess the old adage, you never got fired by dealing with the OEM, right? And so, there was a risk associated with dealing with another company that wasn't the manufacturer, but our price was, obviously less, as well as, our deliverables were more, but it was just that leap of faith. And technology has evolved over the last, 10, 15, 20 years where things have become much more open and barriers have dropped. And so it's a lot easier today.
Value wins, right?
That's
so
right.
You're providing value. You got a couple of people to test you out, and then
Build on that. Reputation's everything.
Yep. So let's go. I mean, we talked about the hands in the head, or head in the hands, and
right.
So let's go high. We as you know, like Zig Ziglar around here, and we got the wheel of life and all these different areas. Just choose an area, and what would you say is the biggest high for you over the last year or two?
I was first introduced to Zig's life wheel years ago, a long, long time ago, and I remember doing that exercise and looking at the spokes. That whether it's social or career, finances, health, spiritual. I would rank them on a 1 to 10. What did I look like? And not only did I not have a wheel, it wouldn't roll. Right, it looked more like an anchor. I was so out of balance. And true to fashion back then, I thought, what, I can manage this. I can manage my way out of this and create balance in my life. And it's really comical when I'd look back at it. But I put a daily effort into it, and I would journal at night before I went to bed. And there were times it was 10 o'clock at night, and I was trying to search and find some long lost remote cousin that I hadn't speak to in 20 years in Kansas, and I would call him up.
Score.
Yeah, I would call him up just so I could check off that family spoke, that it was a positive effort given that day.
That's why I got a dog.
Right. Obviously, it didn't work, and it didn't take very long for it to just fall from my mind. But knowing that you were going to ask me that question, I had a lot of fun with this. I went back and measured the spokes, and I'm perfectly in balance. And it's not because I've tried. To be honest with you, I didn't even know that I was in balance. And it's all those spokes end up to a hub, and that hub is God. And the only thing I've done is put Him first in my life. And by doing that, everything supernaturally has just come into balance for me. It's astonishing, really.
Amen. So there's a flip side to this exercise, which is the low.
Right.
Is there a low? I mean, you sound like you're in great balance. So does that mean there are no lows?
No, come on. We live, right? Probably the biggest one in the last 12 months was 12 months ago. My wife and I had separated. We hadn't spoken for nine weeks. Papers were filed. We were beyond done. We were done. And
sorry.
That's okay. But by the grace of God, we were led to a church to try a program called Re-Engage at Watermark Church. And so we both reluctantly entered into that program. And not only did God resurrect our marriage, but the miracles that we see in our life today and in our family are just unmeasurable. It's incredible.
Amen.
That's awesome.
So the lows can still turn into the highs, trust me.
You want to share the church? It sounds like a great program.
Yeah, it's Re-Engage was the program. It's at Watermark.
Watermark, okay.
Yeah, he said
you already
that.
said that?
He said that, yeah.
Well, I was already listening.
Well, so whenever we look at that, what would you say is one of the biggest breakdowns that's turned into a breakthrough for you in your business? Let's say.
It would have to be that time, when we switched from becoming a reseller into a service provider, and we didn't plan on it. It just we had no choice. We weren't selling any equipment. It was in 2000, I was earlier starting to mention. And so, we stepped into the service piece, and there was a void that we were able to fill. And now it's interesting, we're looking back. It totally, we had no choice but to do it at that time to survive. But then it ended up being, our number one product, wow. And our product happens to be a service now, but 90% of our revenue today is derived from services.
Which is recurring.
Which is a recurring revenue stream, which is nice. Right.
If you could change one thing about your business, what would it be?
That's easy. Over the last 27 years, we've maintained our own sales force, our own sales directives, and I never embraced the channel, meaning allowing other people to resell our products or our services.
Any particular reason, or just?
Probably quality control at the time, thinking, I would rather our guys represent it and represent it accurately, right? And not dilute the quality of our product. But, I really missed it looking back. And now, in talking to some of our competitors, 80% of their revenue, new business revenue today is derived from the channel sales. And so we've really missed that one, and we've got a lot of ground to catch back up. But the beautiful thing is, you live and you learn, right? And you apply. Right. So with Bizbang, we're, starting out creating a phenomenal channel behind that product. So, a lot of people that can partner up with Bizbang and resell that to their clients in a profitable situation too. So
we had another person in here. We were interviewing Dave Leidy with Spectrum Voice over Internet, and I know they had the same experience. And so they took their best salesman, and he is now only responsible for channel sales, developing those partnerships. So sounds like a good thing.
What's next?
Meaning?
What's next for you?
Just launching Bizbang. It's interesting how things have changed over the last 27 years. And it's not like the old days. You call a PR firm and come up with a few press releases and off to the races you go. It's just the market's changed dramatically and very quickly. So with social media, with SEO and going after your customers in that light, it's just been a learning curve for me personally. But it's interesting and exciting at the same time, so we're embracing it.
So with 18 offices in the country, you can do so many things virtually. Why do you need 18 offices? Can't you do it all from the Dallas office?
Not at all. Again, Service IT's main product is we maintain data centers, mission critical data centers for, like we have 10% of the Fortune 100. So these are the big guys. Airlines stop flying if these servers go down type business. And so we have to have local parts logistics and a slew of field engineers, gotcha. In different cities in order to be able to maintain a 4-hour response time, and I think average for our clients, we have an SLA of we have to be on site within 4 hours, but most of our accounts we have back up and running in less than 4 hours. So we've got it structured right.
Ever onward and upward. Well, Mike, we really want to just thank you and thank our audience for being with us today. If you'd like to learn more about Mike or Service IT Direct or Bizbang, please visit serviceitdirect.com or bizbang.biz.
And if you want to know more about the radio show, please go to nextlevelshow.com. You can see an archive. I say see because we videotape all the shows, so you can either listen to them or watch them for everybody we've ever interviewed. Mike will be on there, of course, and you can also find us on all the social media platforms.
If you heard something today, definitely help spread the word on this. Have a great week.
You have been listening to The Next Level, Conversations That Propel Business with Stephen Nooner and Bob Gibbons. Join us every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. for more prolific conversations that will take your business to the next level.